Hello guys, in this tutorial I'm going to show you 5 different ways that you can improve and practice your drawing skills for animation, specifically with animating the human figure or an animal's figure or anything like that. So character animation or anything involving body language. So yeah, starting with lesson 1, my first tip is to practice drawing from life as much as possible. You can use websites like Pixelovely, New Masters Academy, and things like that, or just grab references online, or go out and shoot photos of your friends. So I recommend that you use full body images just from head to toe, so that you can get the full body in if you want to. You don't have to. You can, if you like getting photos of just head up, you can do that, but it's good practice to be able to draw the whole body in one go from head to toe. That's the best practice you can get for that. I also recommend that you don't draw other people's sketches or other people's animations, and that you don't draw from anatomical diagrams necessarily. I mean, unless you're specifically studying anatomy and proportions, I recommend that you just draw from people or animals, like actual photography, or if you're lucky enough to have someone in the room that will just stand there for you, then that's great, but it's actually not necessary. I've got a reference picture up here. I'm just going to demonstrate real quick how I'm going to, I'll just draw one for you now. I like to draw poses that are mid-motion. That's my favorite kind of pose to draw for animation, so I'll demonstrate that now. Okay, so I've got my rough sketched image that you can see here. Now, me personally, I wouldn't actually take it beyond this point. I would move on to the next sketch from here. So I would just, put that there and move on to the next one and do about 5-10 of them. And that's a good practice every day that you can do. So that's the first one. I know that's pretty obvious. This is the obvious one. It's the one that everyone will tell you, but don't worry, because I've got some more tips for you here. So that was just simple drawing from life. Anyone will tell you that. Okay, lesson 2. Find your most efficient way to draw the human body. So now we're getting into a little bit more detail here as to the specifics of animation, drawing the human body for animation, or if it's an animal that you want to draw. It's the next step is about finding how you can draw it efficiently. So now I'm going to be drawing not as much from reference. I'm going to try and demonstrate what I mean by this. There's a few ways that you can tell if you're drawing efficiently and if you're not drawing efficiently. One habit that lots of people make when their drawing isn't as confident as it could be is they make too many strokes. So they will go around the head or something like this with little scratchy things like that. And I got to tell you that this way of drawing, like doing multiple lines and everything like that, is it by and large it doesn't work very well for animation. I know some people that can make it work, and there's some professionals who can make it work, but it's not a good habit to get into for animation. And if you are starting out in animation and you want to learn how to animate, how to draw for animation, then it will help you to be able to draw your figure in as few strokes as possible. Now that doesn't mean you have to take it all in one stroke and not leave the page, but that is what this exercise is about. It's about minimizing how many times you take your pen off the paper. So let's try it now. So I'm going to try and go around the head like this, and then I'm going to go down. And the key to this is you know, very messy. Just allow it to be messy. Okay, I'm going to outline the shoulders here. You'll find yourself needing to cross over to different sides like this. This is actually a really useful habit to get into. So there I did it almost in one stroke, the head, the neck, the torso and the shoulders. So that's really good. And look at how you're making your way around from one to another. You'll notice that that was really efficient. And now if we try it again here, you know, we've got the arm and the forearm here, and I'm even going down to the fingers and the thumbs. I know that's not a great hand there. We can just go over that and do it again, but you see how it kind of forces you to be fast about it and to be confident. I think that's really a good habit to get into. So yeah, I'll just leave the hands like that for now. That didn't go so well, that hand, but let's try this one now. So let's try something different for this one. So we'd have it up like that, and yeah, and it's tricky, you know, because you're kind of having to rush through it because you can't stop and think because your hand is on the page and it feels like it needs to move places. So yeah, it can be quite tricky, but it's good practice. I mean, with these sketches, you don't have to show them to anyone. In this scenario, of course, I'm showing them to you, but you won't have to show your sketches to anyone if you're practicing for animation. You can just, you know, keep them on your computer, away from everyone else. So now I'm just kind of looking at the bigger picture a little bit more and seeing if I can correct it at points, just to be more anatomically correct, I guess, because it's really far off right now. So you know, you can go back over it and stuff. I like to personally kind of sculpt my forms, so I like to erase it a lot and then go back over it and try it again, and in that way it's kind of sculpting it. So that's how I personally like to draw. I don't like to nail it first time. In fact, I find that pretty much impossible. So yeah, and then I like to leave quite a lot of negative space on the face. That's why I don't do the same here. I just kind of draw eye areas. The exercise is drawing areas where you don't have to take your pen off the page as much. So that, trust me, that is going to really, really help you to create efficient drawings later on. And not only that, you'll find that they start to become more expressive and more stylized, and that is definitely what you want. You want them to have your own style come out. You can definitely see in here, my style is coming out whether I like it or not. And they become more expressive and more natural, I find. So yeah, that's a really good lesson. That's a really good practice to do. And I'm going to move on to the next one now. So lesson 3, work on speeding up the time you spend drawing the body. That is basically, you do timed poses, and the challenge here is that you start with 5-minute poses, right? You draw the pose, you have to have it finished within 5 minutes. That sounds easy, it's actually quite difficult, alright? But then you draw another pose, and this time you draw it for 2 minutes, and once the 2 minutes is up, it's got to be finished. You've got to have drawn every major area of the body. Bring that down to 1 minute, it starts getting really tough now, 1 minute, and then 30 seconds. So 30 seconds is ridiculously difficult, and usually I start off the life drawing class by doing 30-second warm-up drawings, and they're very basic, as you can imagine. They're a bit like scribbles really, but they will really help you to learn how to kind of draw extremely efficiently. You've got to block in the basic shapes, and that's what you're going to be doing a lot of the time in rough character animation, so it's a perfect one. I'll try it now. I'm going to time myself just judging by this clock here that I have. I think I'm about out of time, so that's how much I got done there. It's very blocky, as you can see. All I've done is just blocked in the major shapes, and I'm not particularly good at this method, but I thought I'd just show you it, like at least you guys can now do it. My problem usually is the relationships to one another, the limbs and stuff, and the proportions and stuff like that, so that's what I struggle on. I'm alright on expressing the gesture and stuff like that, but having it accurate to the model is always beating me. But that's alright, that's not really what we're going for here. We're going for, expressing the character and getting a rough accuracy for the figures. And of course, over time, when you do this, you'll start to be able to quickly capture what you want in a pose. So let's say you have to draw a storyboard and you need the character to be in a certain position, like maybe crouched down or something. You'll be able to visualize it very quickly, and you'll quickly just be able to rough it out. With the rough animation, you might need him to be drawn in a stage of different poses where he's crouched down, and you might need to do 5 different ones, all variants of the same one. It takes a long time, and you need to be able to visualize that very quickly if you don't have reference footage. So these exercises are all kind of building towards that. The other method I wanted to show you, this is the method that I use, and I don't necessarily recommend this for you. It's just the method that I have found works for me, and this is partly a style thing. I like this style of this drawing method, but also I've found that it's very efficient. So this is how I've found my style, so I'm going to try it here and watch how efficient it is at drawing the full body. Okay, I had to change to Adobe Flash because the latency was killing me with that. So with this I have very little latency, so I'm going to try the same method again and try and demonstrate it to you again. see how it can be very efficient if you're able to master this kind of drawing. And I'll show you in a storyboard now how I'm able to use it within my animations to be extremely fast. So here's an example. I'm currently animating a battle scene of sorts. It's in the very early stages, but essentially I've got to draw out loads and loads of characters fighting, loads of soldiers. So it's very difficult to draw that many soldiers all fighting and dying and attacking all at once. And so this method has come in really handy for that, in parts like this, where I show a big battle scene and there's big crowds of people all attacking each other. I have to be able to draw them very quickly, so it's really come in handy there. So back to this, the even faster version of this is the silhouetted figure. I try to silhouette my figures quite a lot of the time in my storyboarding, so I'll try that now, and so I can do this from quite a distance as well, which is nice. So I can, from far out here, I don't have to zoom in at all. I can kind of do this kind of stuff where I'm like, maybe I want this to go there, and well, of course I'm making this up as I go along because I don't have a plan, but you can see how it's very quick for me to respond to what pose I want to put down. I'm able to do it very quickly. Of course it's very rough, but this is what you have to practice really. A lot of you who are animating, who like to animate very neatly and like to draw very neatly, my recommendation actually would be to loosen up a bit, especially if your drawings are feeling stiff. One good way is to just speed up the pace of your drawings and get them at this speed where you can't afford to focus on the unnecessary detail. You have to focus on the pose in general and what it communicates. One of the most simple kind of pose you can do is this kind of pose, which is like a silhouetted figure. So it works as a silhouette. If we could try a more unorthodox one, maybe one from a weird angle like this, but it's kind of the same. The point is more that I've adapted my style and adapted it to my way of drawing that kind of zigzag. The next lesson I want to quickly go on to is condensing information in the body. So I'll show you that here. This is a pretty easy concept to grasp, but actually practicing it, it will be something that will take you years and you will never really master it because there's always something new to learn. Like I've just been constantly expanding my repertoire of this for years, and I will continue to expand my repertoire for years in the future. So an easy one for this is a leg and a foot, right? So I like to draw my leg and the foot kind of joining on from one another, and then so that's my basic foot, and you'll see it was one line for this, which is the top of the foot and the shin, one line for the back of the leg and the heel, one line for the sole, and another line for the toe. This one is obviously they would look more like that in more detail, but that's the basic way you can do it. And you see that was quite economic with the lines, right? Even though it's a close-up, But really, if you think about how many components are in the foot, there's hundreds of components in the foot, the different little tendons, the toenail. You know, you can draw all that stuff with, like, if you wanted to, you could draw that with hundreds of lines, hundreds and hundreds. But with here, I tried to condense the information into as few lines as possible, but still kept the character and the essence of what a foot is. So if I try another foot, maybe I try it from a different angle here, and something like that. That wasn't very good actually, but you see there's like only a certain amount of information is important enough for me to focus on, and it's more about the kind of the character of the foot. Let's try one more and just see how economic my drawings really are. They could probably be a little bit more economic, but just for the purpose of this, I want to show you. Maybe you want laces, I don't know, that's kind of an unnecessary detail, I guess. And then afterwards I could put in the heel and stuff, but still that's keeping it within 10 lines. If you want to backtrack at all, you can always Control Z and see how many lines it takes to until you start back with nothing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that one doesn't count. That's erasing. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's try again. So let's try and keep it within 10. Let's try with the toes first, and ankle, heel, oh, shin. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was a good one. That was 6. So as a practice, if you want to practice regularly for your animation skills, so drawing skills which will practice regularly for animation skills, to summarize, I recommend you fill up a big page every day if you can. I can't do it every day. I find I can't clear that amount of time in my schedule, but every week or twice a week is good as well. Draw just sketches in your art book, in your sketchbook, or on a canvas. And you can do these from your imagination, but you should also do a few from life as well, or just do all of them from life. Practicing line efficiency and also getting your poses down with your timing. I know it sounds weird for me to say that it's important to be able to draw fast, because that's surely, it should be quality, right? It should be quality that you're working on. But actually, being able to draw poses fast will actually make your ability to draw poses in general much better. So it will actually increase the quality of the poses you're able to draw by being able to draw them fast. Trust me, it will. So it's a valuable skill to have, even if you're working on doing very detailed drawings. It's still great to start off with a solid drawing that's been drawn very quickly, in my opinion. Especially if you're into animation, you're going to be working with animation friendly designs anyway. An animation friendly design is something that's being designed with animation in mind, so the designer has known that it's not going to be too detailed and it's going to be easy for cell shading and things like that. Anyway, I'm rambling here. If you're used to drawing stick figures and you're doing stick figure animations, using these practices that I've told you should really help you get on track for animating in full body, if that's what you want to do. I'm not saying full body is better or anything like that, but I know a lot of stick figure animators are interested in becoming full body animators, so these ones should really help you out. Obviously, I haven't gone into the actual nuts and bolts of drawing the human figure. That's for a different video. That is like a massive topic, and I will get to that, but this is for how to practice. So this is assuming that you've got all the tutorials and stuff, and this is just how you are going to practice. Anyway, I've been using PaintStorm Studio for this start bit, and I was using Adobe Flash CC for the other part. If you're interested in software, I'm using a Wacom Cintiq 12, but I'm beaming it onto my monitor because my monitor's larger. Yeah, I think that's about everything. I'll see you later. This video was edited by Alessandro Carducci. His channel is over here, I've linked it. It would be really great if you check out his videos and consider subscribing. He's helping to get these videos out to you faster and at a larger rate, which is something that I can't do on my own, so I have a lot to thank him for. With that said, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.